Hello and welcome to another video. In today's one we'll be looking at the tmnt 2007 prequel comics issue number 5. Now these prequel comics more or less took one character and redeveloped them as well as some ideas for later explore in the movies. Now I must admit this whole series has been pretty interesting, as you can tell from the past few videos that I've done in this series, and I must admit they've all been pretty interesting and good and varied in, interesting ideas and concepts, and some of them are just weird but never really expanded stuff. Now this issue focuses on Leonardo and how he became the Ghost of the Jungle, and I must admit it's pretty interesting with the story that he goes on, and some stuff which they do take over into the movie is pretty interesting with what they do, and yeah. So we first start the comic off with Leonardo taking out some men. Now these men were the ones I do get to see at the beginning of the movie and more or less terrorising the village that Leonardo take down during that beginning part of the movie. Now with this scene here, I wouldn't be too surprised if this was supposed to be like an alternate angle of what really went down in that scene, and I must admit it's pretty cool to see it goes down in this way. We see Leonardo taking down these men in a pretty brutal way, and I must admit it's pretty cool to see that. So then going into the next scene, we do get to see Splinter talking to Leonardo, and this is more or less where Splinter sets Leonardo up to go on his journey for this issue. We do get to see Splinter tells Leonardo about the five-folded path, which we do get to see Leonardo go on, and he goes to these different countries to learn these different skills, I want to say, or things that basically make him who he is, if that makes sense. Now first place he goes to is Iceland. Now in Iceland he learns some skills about courage and stuff like that, and during the scene here we do get to see these hunters. They're going off into the sea and going to kill some baby whales and also a mothered whale, but Leonardo actually stands up for them and he throws away the anchor that's about to kill the whales and stuff like that, and he more or less tells them to just go away because you're about to kill them and all the horrors and stuff like that. And I must admit, it's pretty interesting to see this side of Leo's character, and we never really get to see too much of Leonardo's character in any other way than just being the leader before the 2012 cartoons and stuff like that. So I must admit, it's pretty great to see him actually being developed here and being actually a pretty interesting character. If anything, I would say that maybe this would be more Michelangelo's territory, but I must admit, still being here is pretty great for him. So after that we do get to see Leonardo goes off to Portugal, where he learns some skills about compassion. Now I must admit here is pretty interesting with what they do, and it's actually a bit dark and just not what you expect to hear from Turtles. So Leonardo goes onto this ship, and that's when he finds some kids, and basically they tell Leonardo that basically they're being sold off to slaves and stuff like that, and they're being trafficking. And I must admit that's already a pretty dark turn for Turtles, with Turtles being very light-hearted and stuff like that. And you have to keep in mind that this comic book was for kids, just because the movie was for kids as well, so they're trying to get kids into the comic books, and this is their way of doing it, by telling them about a story about how kids got trafficking. Great! But this is when we do get to see Leonardo actually goes off and actually kills all the adults and stuff like that, and again, it's very dark and just not what you expect to see from Leonardo or Turtles in general, with how dark this bit of the story gets, but it's there, I guess, and it's good, but it feels really weird and just really out of place. And it's just not something which I really expect from Turtles. With Turtles being very kid friendly and stuff like that, and then we just get something like this, where it's a very serious issue and they're tackling it, and it's just not what I'm expecting from Turtles. And I think that's the biggest surprise about all of it. But it is what it is. But at the same time, just damn. So next up he goes to Mongolia, where he learns some stuff about selflessness, and I must admit it's pretty interesting with what happens here. So basically he sees some hunters and they catch this monster up and about to take him to a base to then go get rich and stuff like that. But Leo offers him a more or less bare proposal and offers him to basically let the monster go and take Leonardo instead. But the man doesn't really agree to this, and he wants to basically take both Leonardo and the monster. But Leonardo has better plans, and he actually releases the monster by throwing some shurikens, but the man also gets really annoyed by this and actually knocks Leonardo out. So after that we do get to see the hunters that take Leonardo back to a base, and that's when the monsters come back and beat the men up and actually save Leonardo. Now I must admit here, I do think that this bit is probably a little bit weird, just because I think that the monsters bit here was pretty cool, and I do get to see more of this world, more of this universe and life forms and stuff like that. Which I do think is really great, but I do think that with this universe and how they deal with monsters and stuff like that, and we don't really know too much about other villains in this universe, such as maybe other mutants and stuff like that. So I think that when we do get to see these monsters here that are talking half beast and half human, this really would have made me wondered if maybe this was part of like the 13 monsters and stuff like that, but because we know that in the movie they are not part of the 13 monsters, it really does leave me wondering like what or who or what they are and stuff like that, which I guess is great. But at the same time, I don't really know. I want to know more about them, but at the same time, it feels like this whole universe crowd and stuff like that is an interesting situation that they really put themselves in with these monsters. Yeah. So after that, he goes to Japan and he learns some stuff about humanity. And this is where it gets like really interesting, because for years now people have argued if maybe this whole movie takes place in 2003 universe, the movie universe, and we already do know an answer for that. But I must admit, this whole bit here with him being in Japan and learning humanity really didn't really help things either. Just because in here, he goes to Japan and that's where he gets to see the little tribunal as well as the ancient one. Now also here we do get to see that the ancient one does mention stuff about Hamato Yoshi, which also did happen in the 2003 show. So I'll say like there's a lot of evidence really backing things up for this to be in this like in 2003 universe and stuff like that, which is cool I guess, but at the same time because it's not in that universe and not the 1990 movie universe, I don't know, it makes it feel really weird, unique and all that stuff. But in here we do get to see Leonardo actually fights the Ancient One, but basically the Ancient One keeps calling him names and stuff like that, and in the end Leonardo ends up losing, and I must admit here it's pretty okay I want to say, there's nothing really too amazing or anything like that. I think the best part about it is just the fact that we do get to see the Ancient One here, but other than that it's okay I want to say, but nothing amazing or anything. So for Leo's final lesson, we do get to see him go to Costa Rica and learn about stuff about community. Now here is where I'll say it gets a little bit annoying for me, just because this is the third issue that are dealing with this stuff, but we do get to see Leonardo talking to April O'Neil. Now in the last issue where we do get to see April, she went to Costa Rica to find a statue, and we do get to see April talking to Leo then, and then in the movie prequel comic, which is just, yeah, something that we might not want to talk about too much. They do also bring this whole bit up again as well, which I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's there. But here is also really weird, just because even though they're doing stuff with Leo and April talking, this scene actually never really happened in the movies, and they never really explored this scene. But I do get to see April talking to Leo about stuff like going home and stuff like that. But Leo also talks about how much he learns over the past year and how much he hates the humans with what they do to each other and what they do to animals, which is interesting that I do get to see this side of Leonardo's character, but at the same time it just feels weird that he's acting this way. But then in the final page we do get to see him just wanting to go home and stuff like that, which I must admit it's cool I want to say, but at the same time it does feel a bit weird just because of the way that it set this scene up, that it just feels really weird in terms of like you don't really know where it takes place. Just because in the previous page you get to see the two talking, and then the next page he's just on his own saying where he wants to go home, so I do think that's a little bit weird, but it works out all okay. Now overall I must say that I do think this issue is really great. I must admit the artwork for this issue is just really great. I don't really know what to really say about it, I can't really explain it, but it just works and it is just so amazing. I really want to see this artist come back for something more modern for Turtles, as I just really like their art style. Now the overall story itself, I think it works really well in terms of exploring Leonardo's character and what he does to really prepare himself for the beginning of the movie, which I think is really great, but at the same time I never really get to see any of these things explored in the movies, and I don't really get to see him really showing off this side of his character ever again, which I do think is really disappointing. But with that being said, I do think that there's a few stories in here that are just a little bit weird. One with the monster, like say Leonardo, even though that one was really great, I do think that it leaves me wanting more for this universe in terms of knowing other mutants and stuff like that. But then the one where he stops these adults trafficking kids to be slaves and all that, I do find that to be really weird and just so not Turtles, just because this whole book was supposed to be for kids and stuff like that, and yet we're doing something like this which has, you know, it's a real serious problem that should not be tackled lightly or anything like that. And yet they're doing it in here, that just feels a bit weird because afterwards he goes off and kills all the people again. So I think they had the right intentions, I just think they went around it all wrong maybe. But I do think that this whole issue has been really great, and we'll definitely like to see a lot more of this stuff explored. But oh god, yeah, it was just interestingly great. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this issue, because again, it's interesting. Now the next one, which, oh god, I feel like we should talk about it, is the movie adaptation for this book, and Oh god, it's not good. That's all I'm really gonna say about it. It's just, well, when you see it, you'll understand what I mean, and oh god, yeah. Well, yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you just want, please share, let's just grab on stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.